Lincoln's Legends podcast is proudly brought to you by two amazing sponsors that are local businesses from right here in Springfield. MilesT-shirts.com, top-notch printing at a great price, and Laces Footwear. Why buy kicks and threads at separate places when the freshest gear is all at Laces. LacesFootwear.com. Welcome to the Lincoln's Legends podcast edition with Sonny Deadwood. How we doing, buddy?
What's up, guys? I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm well. You get to pick the place every week. Where are we at this week?
We are at Craft Beer in Springfield, downtown Springfield.
I am under a light, and I feel like I'm beyond fire. I'm going to turn the level up just because the music is going up, but you know what? That's what you get for the live atmosphere.
That's right. We got some good hometown tunes playing in the background.
Let's do the plugs. Like, what's something you're really stoked about right now that you're doing?
Something that I'm really stoked about? Well, right now, I mean, just playing around town, I'm really stoked about. I play at Craft Beer on Monday nights. I play at Bar None on Wednesday nights. We've got a really good open mic, original music scene going on around here. And I know a lot of times people really just kind of, brush open mic off.
Oh, I wouldn't write it off. I played like 5 years ago, and it was awesome. Some of the best times I've ever had playing out. And I've been out of the game for a long time, and I have no idea where it's at. And that's why we're hanging out tonight.
Yeah. It's a good time, and you never have the same group of people all the time. So, it's a really good time. And just besides that, just working on recording the music.
Who's the MC that's here tonight?
The MC that's here tonight is Matt Skinner.
And do you guys rotate, or is it?
It's usually his gig, but he's actually getting ready to leave the area, so I'm doing what I can to try and take that over.
That's awesome. I'd say keep it going rather than take it over. That might be a better idea.
I mean, fill over in his stead, I should say. Yeah.
So, about recording. What genre would you say that you are in right now? In the middle of? Balls deep. What genre?
Balls deep. I try to keep it as traditional as I can, like in that rooted Americana, original kind of country rockabilly feel. But it's right now it's just myself, so it doesn't get too crazy. But that's definitely what I'm balls deep into.
You can say that. You can't say that all the time. So yeah. Let's do like a little bio. Like, have you lived here forever? Did you get dropped off in a van? I mean, sometimes that's how I start the story.
Right, yeah. I mean, I consider myself from Springfield, but no, I didn't grow up here, actually. I grew up in Hillsborough.
That's close enough.
Yeah. It's a considerably smaller, out-of-the-loop area, but then again, Springfield's not incredibly in the loop itself.
Oh, no, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, that's where I grew up, and that's where I take the root of my inspiration for what I want to do.
So you mentioned the other places. I think it's awesome that I can sit down with you because I have seen you have your iron in many fires. There's a lot of stuff that you're doing in Springfield, and I definitely dig it. Is the open mic night at Bar None any different than it is here? Because you're saying you never know who's going to show up here.
That right there is exactly what makes the two different. It's always a different crowd between the different venues. It seems like whether it's a different night of the week or whether it's a different venue, it always gets mixed up. There's always a mix-up. There's always a matchup. Of course, you see the same usual faces travel back and forth across the street,
right?
And whatever, but for the most part, it's a completely different crowd everywhere else. So it gives you that opportunity to be heard by different people at each individual place.
Who are you recording with right now? You said you're solo, but who's doing the engineering? Who's doing the...
Mike Devious from Petcock is actually doing...
You can say that on this show. You couldn't say it on the other show. So,
yeah, Petcock. Mike Devious from Petcock is doing my recording.
That's a throwback for some people. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, that's fine. No worries. I'm playing with the levels for the audience. I do apologize, but...
I'm leaning in here.
Oh, no, you're doing great. I'm just worried about everything being drowned out. Let's see. If you could do the mayor for a day thing, like what's really something that you'd want to change,
Mayor for a day. Okay. I'm going to get a little preachy here. I would really like to eliminate music contest reality shows on television. And I'm sure a lot of people would say that. But I would really like to do this because I feel like a lot of people like really don't have the right idea of what it takes to be a musician and how hard a lot of people really work to become, you know, like stable in the music
To make a living.
To make a living.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah. It's not just...
You can have one crazy summer.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's so great to have that crazy summer, but it's not just a matter of, you know, making an audition and getting on a TV show and singing somebody else's material.
You got to think though, those people are slaves to the brand.
I mean,
for at least 5 years.
They definitely are. And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate too.
But that's what they signed up for.
Dictates.
So what are you gonna do?
So, but
It's you get to see a lot more than I do. Who are some of your favorite artists locally right now that people might not know about? You're like, man, I really dig this guy's set, you know, and maybe it's not front page news.
Actually, a couple of the guys that are playing here tonight, Matt Skinner, he's the drummer of Jukebox Casanova. I'm sure a lot of people know who Jukebox Casanova is from around here, but they might not know his stuff, like his solo stuff individually. And he's a really talented singer-songwriter, and we got Nick Murphy, the guy that's playing in the background right now. He's really good at what he does. So, but my favorites, you know, and I you know, no hurt feelings to anybody out there. You know, I love all you guys, but my favorite local acts are Jukebox Casanova and Petcock. You know, I love those guys.
Nobody's gonna question your loyalty. That's what this show's about.
Yeah.
You let it out, man. If you like another band, we'll have you on the show. You can talk for 25 minutes about how awesome that band is. It's not no agenda. It's a platform.
Yeah.
You are it's your agenda. See, how do you feel about? Because I'm gonna get a little political, and I try not to. But how do you feel about letting artists play, being in your position? The festivals that we have, because I personally think that they could deserve a makeover. I just hate seeing the same bands play every festival that we have that are local. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think part of that comes down to I don't know if it's necessarily a lack of actual local bands, because I mean it really does feel like we've got a wealth of local bands.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think it also has to be said that we've got a really good punk community here. We've got a really good metal community here.
Oh, absolutely.
And just like the diversity of the music scene here is it's incredible, but the masses don't necessarily want to hear every genre of music that our music scene has to offer.
And that sucks for me,
And-
to be honest, because as you said, there is an awesome band for each genre, but I don't feel that they're represented the best way.
Right,
I would love
yeah.
to see some type of change. I don't know if I'm the one to do it or the one to just, spark the idea, but I mean, because there's, how do I say this a better way? In my previous years of going to open mic nights, you can be best friends with your favorite musician, but they won't be center stage and playing in front of the people that may enjoy them, because they kind of get brushed aside. So I don't know who we talk to or where we go, but that definitely needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, and it could just be that, some things, I feel like some things have started to turn around, and some things have started to definitely progress as far as the music scene in this area within the last several months, like the last year or so. And I've always had a really good time, and it always seems like there's a really good turnout, and nobody is brushed aside and nobody's shied away. But there are also a handful of open mic events out there that I not necessarily don't go to, but haven't gone to.
Right.
Like I've not been to Marley's, I've not been to Dinah's Homespun, and not that I don't necessarily want to, but you don't necessarily also want to do nothing but open mics.
Oh, no, I agree. I personally have been to, I would say, a large portion. I don't want to say everybody, because I'm a mic vagabond. But
right, and that's not what I want to convey by any means.
Oh, absolutely.
Either.
And I would say that each venue has their favorites, and it's real hard to get into the eyes of people. I mean, I've played where you got to be the first person to play, and I've been grateful. And I've also been lucky enough to be the last person that plays, and I've been grateful. And it takes a really long time, and I got a lot of respect for you, man, because you have to pour your heart into everything. And you know, if it's a full bar, there's even people that maybe they don't like your music, and you have to sell yourself to them, because you can't just get behind the mic and say, well, fuck you.
Well, I really appreciate that, especially being a one man act. That's where it gets a little edgy, because, like, for the most part, not everybody wants to come out and see a one man act, especially not all the time, especially if they've seen them a handful of times. Like, for the most part, people would really prefer to see a full act, not just some guy standing up there. That's why I try to keep it energetic.
That's where me and you differ, because I feel open mic night is a one-man show. Not show as in band, but you get an acoustic guitar. It's intimate. If you want to go see a band, I think there are plenty of other opportunities. I know it doesn't.
That's exactly how I treat every single show. In fact, there have been a few where I've actually opened on that preface, like, just because it's an open mic show doesn't mean it's not a show.
Right.
I always try to bring that same level of energy. I always try to, still keep that dancing around. Still try to keep that
absolutely, that
pace, that beat.
Let's bring it back just a little bit. I'm enjoying the ambiance, and I don't want to give I don't want to overly plug the place that we are, but I am enjoying Clown Shoes Reindeer Games Bavarian Style Indian Pale Ale. I won't say that 3 times fast.
Well,
but
Clown Shoes.
I had
that
to get
says
it.
all.
I
Clown
read
Shoes.
the name Clown Shoes, and I needed that in my life.
But how did you pick Clown Shoes out of the, I'm gonna guess, what, 200?
Yeah, there's a lot. If you guys have never been to a craft beer bar, I'm sure they've got Facebook and they've got a website and everything. But there are a ton of beers.
A ton of beers, and
you
they
got,
make
you got
every
fruit beer,
single
you got
style
IPA,
available
you got,
to you.
Yeah.
You got your ciders, you got your IPAs, your stouts, your brown ales, your red ales.
There's a lot going on here.
There's a lot.
I looked for, I just had dinner, so I was looking for a fruity beer, and then I thought to myself, I can't order a fruity beer. We're going to go with the Clown Shoes. We're going to go with the Clown Shoes. So, let's see. Now, I don't want to call you a character, but I do feel that you're an interesting person. Tell me...
I'll take character.
Well, I don't mean it in a derogatory term at all. I mean, it's like the dude is his own person.
I don't take it as a derogatory term at all. I mean, it adds to the mystery.
It
adds to the
makes
act.
you unique. That's how I feel. It makes you unique. Now, I've seen you at a handful of places. Now, I don't want to get too personal, but do you, in order to fund what I would call your passion and your dreams, do you work the door anywhere that'll have you? I mean, how does that work out?
That really comes down to Jason McKinney and Bernie Flesh at Bar None in the Gin Mill. I owe a lot to Bernie Flesh and Jason both. I mean, Bernie has done a lot in the ways of getting me some of the best shows that I've ever played. I played, opening for the Coffin Cats. That was a show that I got. I booked that show because of Bernie and so many others. Joe Buck yourself, Hudson Falcons, Deer Creek. Just so many awesome national acts.
So, the Gin Mill's been open for a couple days, right?
It's been open for, I guess, a week. A week on Wednesday?
Okay, well, because we met the other night casually. I was like, holy crap, there's a bar here.
Yeah.
And, a friend of a friend. But I was like, I in the best way possible, you're here too. Not meaning, holy shit, that guy again. Because I feel that if you are known at many places, then you're known for something positive.
Right.
They're not going to keep an asshole around. They don't have to.
Yeah, and I mean, I've definitely... My face has definitely made its appearances around Springfield over the years, and that's why I call this area my home. I started out so many years ago as the guy that worked for Hot Topic. And was always out in the local music scene, always going to the Clone shows, always going to Lid Lifter shows, going to Annihilate shows. And then I started working for Sam Goody. And I became the record store guy for 10 years. I ran that store and transitioned into FYE. And then I left that once that closed down, and briefly worked for Zoomies. Briefly, not to plug that place by any means, because I definitely preface briefly on that. But
well, I just respect the fact that your face is a lot of places, and in a positive way, because I don't know the best way to articulate it, but there's a positive and a negative. Like, there's, oh shit, there's that guy, but you're like, hey, Sonny's here. That way, when I walk in somewhere and I see your face, I'm like, I've got a friend instantly.
Yeah.
And that, if every place were like that, it would be such an easier place to get along. You know,
I kind of feel like if that's not necessarily what I bring to every place, I feel like that's what every place brings to me whenever I go in there. You know, like I call craft beer home. You know.
Hold on, I thought he was playing with a sword, but it was. I'm sorry that you can't see what we're looking at, but the bartender has a beer tap that looks very similar to something from what's the guy's name from Little Mermaid? The dad, the Greek staff.
The Trident.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
The dad's name,
no, that's fine. I was gonna say it looks like Raphael, but it's not the same. So I apologize.
But yeah, you know, I call craft beer home. I definitely call Bar None and Gin Mill home. Tin Can Pub, I played there a handful of times.
I heard some bad news that they're gonna be closed at the end of the year. Is that right?
I haven't heard that. But that place struggles, like so many places around here do.
So they had an open mic night for a little bit. Did it not work out?
I don't think so. I think they tried karaoke for a little bit. They've definitely changed hands a few times and do whatever they can to dip in to try and figure something out.
So what's next on the horizon? Like, say you're working at all these places to fund your dream. What is it that you're chasing right now? You're recording.
Right now, I'm chasing finishing. Yeah, I've got 10 original songs. 10 original songs written.
Don't let them hear them all. Give them like a little bit at a time. Just a little bit.
Well, I mean, 10 original songs that are written have been. Nearly all of them have been regularly performed for the last.
Okay.
I've been at it for. Well, I guess if Mike Devious was listening, he'd probably be the one to actually correct me on everything, because he's like Sonny Deadwood's #1 fan, and he's the one that's like, no, you didn't play this show on that day, you played it on this day. But
it's good to have those people in your life.
Yeah.
It is.
You know, most of the song, it's been a couple years now, but the writing has already well began on the next one, and that stuff has not been. There's only been maybe two or three people that have even heard samplings of the new handful of material.
So are you talking like full album, EP, packaging? Are you talking about Bandcamp? Are you talking about Reverb Nation? Like what level are you working with right now?
Well, I've been on Reverb Nations from the get-go.
Okay.
And I've got home demos, just stuff that I've recorded on my iPhone or through Audacity and whatever, just so people have a general idea. But I've got a handful of covers and original stuff there that people have been downloading and listening to forever. I haven't tried out Bandcamp, but it's definitely been suggested to me.
I'm only asking because I look at things and say, okay, what's next? What's next? Now, I don't know. I haven't played music in a long time in Springfield. My big thing was to get on iTunes. So once we get on iTunes, then we're going to sell, and we're going to book shows and things like that. And it worked for us at the time. It was fun. But right now, I wouldn't even know where to start. To be honest, if I got the chance to play out, I wouldn't even shoot for iTunes anymore. I would shoot to play a song in front of 5 of my friends. If they respect me and they like the song, then my goal is over. But you can't make a living like that.
Right,
so
exactly,
I don't know.
Exactly.
How do you feel? I mean, what would you end game?
iTunes is definitely optimum. That would be great. But I'm still kind of undecided on which direction exactly I want to go. I definitely want to get these 10 songs recorded as people have heard them for the last couple of years and get them presented in that fashion.
Right.
But I don't know that that's necessarily it for this group of songs. I would, on some level, I would also like to see them further explored in the whole band.
If I can interject, they will never be as perfect as they were the first time that you sang, played, and felt everything that song had.
Absolutely.
If you try to add to it, you're going to fuck it up. Just my opinion. Unless you get a full band behind it, but you have to have full creative freedom to say, look at me, I'm the coach, and every instrument has to sound amazing. That's different, but I don't feel that it's a good idea to tinker with something that owns a part of your heart. And I don't know how you write, but that's how I wrote. So,
and that is definitely how I write, and that's how I've approached everything. I love the song. I love when he plays the song. But yeah, that's definitely how I take that approach, and I don't look at it as necessarily altering anything, because that's the idea behind wanting to get them recorded as everybody has gotten to know them, as everybody's gotten to love them.
Yeah.
But I want to explore it further also. I want to see what could be on the other side of the hill.
Oh, I agree. And the thing where the catch-22 there is you've got an awesome bass line. You got an awesome rhythm section. Then you want to add lead. And then you want to, well, how far do we take it? Do we add harmonies? And all of a sudden, you're swimming in these sections. You're like, oh my gosh, that's why I said it's never going to be as perfect or as pure as it was the first time, that whether you're a lead player or a rhythm player or, a bass player. You know, when you hit those notes and you hit the lyrics exactly how they're supposed to hit, it'll never get more perfect than that. And that's what scares me about ever trying to write music again, because you throw your whole heart into that one song. You're like, well, could it be better? I don't know. You can spend a year trying to perfect a song that was already perfected the first time that you played it.
That is very true. But you know, there's something to be said about you never know unless
May I stop for a second, because I'm having a college swang moment? Is that Gaslight Anthem?
Against me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. I got you. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to derail the train.
No, you're good. You're good.
I was like, wow, that's good. I'm really glad that I came out and I got to experience it, because I haven't heard raw talent like that in a long time. And
Yeah.
that's something that we can share with everyone that's listening to this show. You can have those moments. You can go downtown and lose yourself in someone that you don't even know but lives next door to you because they're talented.
That's right. And, you know, give it 20, 30 minutes.
Oh, absolutely.
Walk down, 30, 40 feet down the street and repeat the process all over again.
Oh, yeah.
Shit, on my walk here, I walk down the strip. I walk down the 5th Street Strip, and on the way here, there was the Alamo, there was Marley's, there was whatever Catch-22 used to be.
I think it's a restaurant now.
Yeah,
Driftwood,
which is very close to, not the same as Deadwood, but close to it, So, but
please don't be mad at me, but did you buy your name?
Did I buy it?
I need to know. You have one shot to buy a name, and you're like, I want it to be this, and I will spend my whole life living up to the reputation of my name. Because if you guys haven't met Sonny Deadwood, like I said, he's a character, and I don't know if you woke up when you're like 11, or like from now on, I'm a badass.
I don't even know if I should answer that question, because
it's an enigma.
It's the mystique. It's like nobody saw Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley without their makeup until 1983.
And they were so disappointed they put it right back on.
Yeah. Not that I'm.
I was busting your balls.
Not that I'm Kiss.
I was busting your balls. I was just kidding. Every person that actually wanted to become something or walk away from something changed their name, so it doesn't matter. I was just busting your balls. Sorry about that. Wow, when we got here, there was 8 people. Now there's 15. So it's fun. All right. Nice. So let's say if you had the money to just play music full time, where would you be right now? What would you be doing?
Oh my God.
Just play music. That's it. You can either spend that time in a bus, you can spend that time in a plane, you can spend that time in a studio. What would you do?
I would want to go to Orange County. Like I've never been to California, and like the Social Distortion is such a huge influence on my musical direction.
Yeah.
And like Mike Ness and his story has just been such an inspiration that I really identify with that. And to be able to go to that area, not only the birthplace of Social D, but the birthplace of so much
Absolutely.
other
Culture. Yeah.
like awesome punk culture. Like to just be able to, even if it were just for a year, to be able to go there and do nothing and not have to worry about
Soak it
anything
in.
else, but soak it in and write
absolutely.
and just be there, and not only that, but like the rockabilly culture in that area, and the cars and the lifestyle, it just seems so inviting. And then I have a hard time with the winter, especially I went vegan a couple of years ago, and I lost a bunch of weight, and ever since then, like, man, like winter it chills me to the bone.
I'm sure.
Like, I was always the guy who was hot all the time.
Yeah.
Like, even if it was freezing cold outside, like, I would still be wearing shorts. But now I'm cold, like, all the time. So the idea to get to a climate that's not only so inspirational and so rooted and whatever, but then to not be cold in the wintertime.
I really feel, after hearing that, whatever you wanted to do, that's what you would do. You are the genuine article. And, I mean, people have 25 minutes to figure out who you are to the core, and that's fucking dope. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. It's so many other answers that could have been given, so many other desires or needs or fake, what do we say, fake plans. Well, I'm supposed to do this and I'm supposed to do that, or, unrealistic things that people cling on to. Much like the conversation we were having earlier about the contest musicians. Like, well, I'm going to write a song, I'll be on The Voice tomorrow, and then I'm going to have a gold record, and then I'm going to be in color Rolling Stone, and then I'm going to have to do shit for the rest of my life. But you're like, no, if I could do anything, I would want to be inspired more so I could add to my craft. And that, I totally respect that. It's amazing.
I think part of that, if not a big chunk of that, comes from how late I took on the confidence to jump in the game. Like I was saying before, I was always the guy who was in the music community. I was always at the local shows, always showing my support, and everybody knew that I could play,
right?
But I never really did. So, I think that part of that attitude comes with maturity and comes with age,
Sure.
and realizing.
And your realistic goals. You're like, really, all I would do is just soak it up.
I'm getting to the point. I don't have time to not necessarily waste on dreams, but I don't want to waste any more time trying to make those dreams happen. It's all about identifying what is your dream, and trying to achieve it, not
That's inspiring.
like willously trying to decide what is your dream.
Right.
Whenever you're a kid, like, everything's in front of you, and you can have 10 million different dreams at the same time, and everything seems limitless. But eventually you realize that that's not how things work.
Absolutely.
And you're
realistic.
You really do need to, and not to sound like I'm like a downer or anything. I am realistic, and
Absolutely.
I realize that you've got to focus on what is important, and you've got to, don't give up on it, man. If that's what is important to you, do not give up on it. Don't let that fire inside extinguish, because if it does, you're gonna lose part of yourself if you let that fire extinguish.
I really feel personally that people are so scared to take chances by themselves. They will do anything they can to bring you down with their fear, and they will inject it in you if you let them.
Yes.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. Fuck them. I would rather fail 1,000 times because I figured out how to do it wrong 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And that one time I figured out how to do it right, I did it by myself.
I don't even know that I'm doing it right today. I just know that the way that I feel, right, I'm doing it, and I know that the way that it makes me feel that I'm doing it feels right.
Absolutely.
That's just how it's got to be.
No, there's tons of substance that you can chase, and it's, to me, whenever I played, it was just it was full of passion, full of life, and I don't indulge in many substances. Actually, booze is the only one I have, and I just felt walking on air, just to hear someone sing back to me
a song that I wrote. It doesn't matter if it's a whole crowd of people or one person, because you can relate and have that connection. And you're always chasing that dragon rather than a heroin dragon or a crack addiction.
It is single-handedly. I mean, next to having the love of your life tell you that they love you back, and I guess potentially having children.
There you go.
Seeing somebody standing out in the crowd singing words back that you are singing to them is such an amazing feeling.
That aren't Nickelback. They're songs that you wrote. Sorry, I had to.
Yeah.
It was so. Yeah, sorry, I had to.
No, that is. You are more than welcome to identify that are not Nickelback. You will never. You will. I definitely play a handful of what I call standard covers. Things that are songs that are important to me, that I feel like even if nobody else had ever made them popular, they should be heard by other people because they are important to me. But you will never hear me play a Nickelback song.
I tell you what, I'm really bummed though right now because Scott Saff, he's in rehab or a psych ward, and I hope that they accepted him with arms wide open. Sorry, I had to. We're almost done. We're gonna end on an awesome note. Let's do the Lincoln's Losers section, where this is my idea. My neighbor, Steve, poops in my yard every week. I tell him not to.
That's no
I'm
good.
tired of cleaning it up.
You know what you do? You go take a dump in his front yard.
In years past, I've been accused, never convicted. I've been accused. So, there's DNA tests and all kinds of stuff. But who would be a Lincoln loser here where you'd be like, you know what, this guy's he's getting on my nerves. Not to throw him under the bus, but just like, hey, stop being a fucking idiot. Just quit.
Oh, man. That would be the throw. So is this like the equivalent to like Springfield? Like,
No.
totally throwing somebody under the bus here?
I say somebody that is pooping in my dog. The dog's pooping in my yard. And just quit it. Quit it with that shit. I'm tired of cleaning it up. You don't have to air out your dirty laundry, but it is fun. And
Right. I do have something actually.
Okay.
There's this guy around Springfield. He's somewhat of a legend.
Okay.
In the toy collector community.
Okay.
If you happen to be a toy collector. I actually, for my day job, I work for a website called popculturenetwork.com.
Good for you. I love the way you did that.
It's like a nerd type thing, and we've got a store in town that sells games and comic books and stuff like that. But we've talked about this guy on this website a few different times, and we call him BG. That's his code name, but really it's code for Bob Goo. Now this guy, he's got a vendetta against me because several months ago, maybe even a couple years ago now, he tried to sell me a fabled Masters of the Universe action figure. It's not even confirmed that this figure even exists by Mattel. But
he made it his basement. Tell me how he made it.
So I go over to look at this figure, thinking that it's probably a fake, and really just wanting to kind of huff my chest and be like, haha, it's fake, dude.
Yeah.
So I tell him that it's fake. So it's cool, whatever. It's neither here nor there. Now a couple weeks later, somebody else tries to sell me this exact same figure.
We're gonna get him. We're gonna trick him this time.
And I tell this dude, like, this figure's a boot.
These are bad apples. We're not buying them.
I've actually held this exact same figure in my hands. I can identify it by telling you points of discrepancy that are not in the photos I'm looking at.
Does the action figure have the strong arm that he stirs the mashed potatoes with? It's not. He's got one real big muscular arm and then stirs the mashed potatoes with a strong hand.
Unfortunately, no. It would have, it probably would have made. I don't know if it would have made the story more interesting, but it would have been funny nonetheless. So. This whole ordeal goes down with this guy, and I tell him, this figure's fake. I've seen this exact same figure.
Yeah.
Well, apparently this guy goes back to BG here.
Okay.
And
Sorry, they weren't buying your
yeah,
stuff again.
it causes, I guess it causes a like an associative falling out between these guys. So then it in turn pisses BG off at me, thinking that I intentionally went out to like sabotage his sale or like his relationship with this guy or something. And that's totally not the case. That's not how it went down.
Right.
But he has, different, like, he's been to like different toy shows and stuff like that where like my name has come up and he's been like, he's like,
you know what's amazing?
I'd like to meet that guy in the ring.
Well,
There's a funny ending to that story. You're employed by a company that sells action figures.
Yes.
He, however, is not.
This is true, and he knows this because he has sold product to the store that I work for. So he knows that I know what I'm talking about. Like it's just kind of ridiculous.
So keep the masters of the universe with the strong hand out of the store. We're not buying it. So Sonny, thank you so much. It's been an awesome interview. And
thank you, sir.
I think the moral of this one is don't quit chasing your dreams.
That's right.
Yeah, as long as you're realistic, right? Go get it.
The Lincoln's Legends podcast would like to welcome home Chris Maxey. He spent the last year in Dublin, not the restaurant, but the city. And he's coming home for the holidays. His first stop happens to be Norb Andy's Tavern. Show starts Saturday at 9 p.m. Since Chris has a reputation for not traveling alone, he'll be joined by Bob Luttrell and CJ Thunder and Tanika of Hot Shot Sugar Force and more. If you're part of the all ages crowd or just want to see a really good show, don't miss Springfield favorites Looming, Hospital Job, The Seething Coast at the Black Sheep Cafe, Saturday, 7 p.m. That's not all, but I'm about out of time. For a full list of bands playing in our area, check out the Friends of the Show section of our website, Lincoln's Legends Podcast. If you got a pulse and a passion, we want to hear from you.